Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling. Special event, as you can see, SPD about this Fleetwood badass.
To see the height and to see the commitment and to see the drive. We'll see, yours truly, without a signature shade, SPD once again. January recruitment month for that.
You know, I come along in the right.
You know, actually, I did do that. I was thinking
Dynamite, all three in the flesh.
Have to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download. Yo, welcome everybody. The Dukes of Dynamite, new year, new intro. We are here. Booking by Bonds, SPD are here with you live for Dynamite Download, episode 68. Man, that is crazy to think about, episode 68. We are live, and it was quite the show tonight. A lot of action-packed. You know, I was really pumped about this show. I mean, there's so much depth to the roster, and it's like every week they give us so much different variety, and so much was jam-packed in this show. Yep. And even in next week, man, I feel like they are just like the pedal is to the metal with Dynamite. But man, Raleigh, North Carolina, I wish I was home in South Carolina because I would have gone to that show. But woof, how are you feeling about the shows, man? Before we dive into the first segment.
I feel great about this episode. It's crazy. A lot of people were talking about this online, and I agree. It feels like the depth of AEW's roster is like catching up to the top talent. You know what I mean? The people that are established. It feels like everybody's kind of getting on an even playing field a little bit. And the shows that maybe aren't featuring the Bryan Danielsons sometimes or something like that, or the John Moxleys are having the same kind of impact as shows that are, which is awesome. You know, so much young talent tonight, so much talent that's shown up in the last couple months tonight. Just fantastic. And that main event was just showcase of the youth. And there was so many of those matches, man. I loved it.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't wait to talk about the main event, but how often do we start Dynamite with a promo? Not often. And
it's usually good though when it does. So
yeah, it delivers when it does. And this was another exception of those. You know, reading the tea leaves on this one, you know, some major turmoil in the Super Click, you know, with the recently reunited Undisputed, a new era is in town, you know, essentially. Adam Cole comes out to start out Dynamite. And of course, I mean, this has been a consistent trend ever since his debut. The crowd is just so over with him. I mean, I love going along with him and ooh, SPD, baby. So it's a lot of fun. I know he's working so good as a heel, but I feel like the Young Bucks are getting more boos. You know, he's so good being this like conniving heel, Adam Cole. But if you were to pit these two teams together, who are you going to turn babyface? Even though Adam Cole is getting in Undisputed is getting so much pop from the crowd, but they're still leaning into that heel vibes where the Young Bucks are kind of like not as much leaning into them. Like, you know, like, come on, man, what's going on? Where were you? You know, like they're just getting left in the dust. Almost you feel bad for them, like the little brother left behind. You know, so. And picking on Cutler nonstop throughout this episode. So what do you make out of this segment?
Man, first of all, great segment. All these guys are awesome, great on the microphone. But we have to remember that the last year, the Young Bucks have been the most annoying, obnoxious tag team in AEW. And it's like, it's so hard to forget the last year. You know what I mean?
True.
I can't do that. You know, part of why I think the pops are going to continue for Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, all these guys are because they're new, and they're super popular in the internet wrestling community. I feel like there's a lot of carryover from NXT viewers to AEW viewers. But also, you know, the Bucks spent the last year being dirtbags. And I think this is their comeuppance a little bit, you know, they're kind of getting it back at them. You know, it's their, I don't know, it's coming back to bite them a little bit because now they don't have Kenny, the belt collector, you know, protecting them in some ways.
That would be their wild card. Honestly, I think the Bucks are outmatched and outnumbered with I mean, they themselves are an elite team in and of itself. One of the best teams in the world currently, next to Lucha Brothers, in my opinion. But them plus Landon Butler, as we're seeing in the chat. I mean, Brandon Cutler.
Landon Butler is my
versus
favorite.
the undisputed, as we'll quote unquote coin them.
Yeah.
I think not many teams can click like that trio right there. And so with
the best friends too. I mean, that's going to be great stuff. And
yeah, I think there's so much potential within this super click turmoil and the best friend stuff that they're going on. And more importantly, man, what we saw, quite a surprise. I mean, obviously it's no secret, the relationship with Adam Cole-Bebe and DMD Britt Baker, but the fact that, he's waiting for the kiss and then DMD comes in and steals the kiss. I'm loving where that led to later in the show, that we were getting another intergender match out of this. I think that is a fantastic booking. Does Britt kind of, after her successful title defense, this is the next segue. And we saw Statlander and, Crayfish and I talked about it on our Saturday Night Slam show. Next in line almost makes sense for Statlander. And then sure enough, boom, Statlander makes a debut. We get a intergender match, and then hopefully down the line that we will see that one-on-one match. So the booking for her is all right now. I think the stars are aligning. Pair up with your man, dominate a little, and then dominate again as a singles champ. It's great stuff for 2022 already. After receiving those PWI awards from the DMD, the stars are rising.
Three of them?
Yeah,
she got 3 of them. Congratulations, DMD. She deserves all. That's great. So
for sure,
love that. But yeah, dude, you're spot on with this. Segment was fantastic. The end was great when they set all this stuff up for the rest of the year. Man, 2022 is gonna be a banger.
It already is.
Absolutely. And obviously we got a lot more to talk about with the show, but the start of this was great, and it just kept going the whole time. The momentum just stayed with Dynamite tonight. Absolutely loved it.
It did. I got to give props to, Cutler, as he always does, man. That cold spray gimmick doesn't get old. It's
my favorite.
Funnier and funnier every single week. And it's the fact that he was spraying the DMD and she was just eating it up as well, man. Everyone wants a hit of that cold spray, man. It's like the magic juice out there for sure.
Hey, man, when we were at All Out, that cold spray felt great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I know that he uses it as a weapon, but man, I think that it's refreshing and fantastic. So I appreciate Brandon doing his thing to help everybody out. Good stuff.
Right. Great job.
Great job, Brandon.
It's a key notch in the belt of the Super Click party. But the first match of the night, man, this one, CM Punk versus the War Dog himself, Wardlow, as the commentators in that prepackaged said, the conductor of violence, Wardlow, the War Dog himself with a badass new shirt, badass new in-ring gear, and really showed out, man. This match was really, to me, I think that I know it's been a while, and I know we've seen that he's a star, but tonight a true star was born with Wardlow. The guy had a breakout night, in my opinion. Not to spoil it, but we're gonna announce it now. I mean, he was our breakout, our top performer of the year, top performer of the night, but picked as our breakout star of the year, Wardlow. Yeah. And this match, this loss, I guess, kind of cheap loss with the roll-up finish, does not do him any harm. It just is leading to the adding fuel to the already burning fire of the turmoil between him and MJF, man. I know you got to be just salivating over this match so far, man.
Oh, dude, Wardlow dominated Steely Phil tonight. It wasn't even close. This looked like one of his squash matches.
It did.
Ultimately, MJF is what cost Wardlow the win. He would have pinned him 5 minutes before that if MJF didn't get involved. I mean, he hit him with five suplexes or 5 power bombs. Before that, and then he hits 2 more, and then Punk gets the pin. But
one through the table.
One through the table, yeah, which is insane. And again, Wardlow looked like an absolute machine, and it's kind of unfortunate that he had to take a loss. But like you said, this is building a story. This is building him turning on MJF and becoming a single superstar, which we all think he's going to be.
We know he's going to be.
Exactly. We know it. It's already there. And I think tonight you started hearing the crowd, they were cheering it. They want it. They want to cheer for Wardlow. And I think in the next couple of weeks, they're going to have their wish granted because it's coming.
Cleveland rocks, baby. The beach break. I mean, what's next after CM Punk taking on Sean Spears next week? MJF is the next in line, unless Wardlow has something to say with it. This one, I was honestly a little surprised. A 16-match winning streak for Wardlow, average match at 1 minute 45 seconds, as the announcer said. I was a little surprised how long this went, but it was a great test for both competitors. A big guy like Wardlow for CM Punk here in AEW, a fresh face, and then Wardlow with CM Punk, taking him to the limits for a while. And then obviously the War Dog just turned it up a notch and, put away the best in the world. And he literally was ragdolling him. He was limp as all get out.
I've never seen Punk take a beating like that at any point in his career. And I've been watching Punk since he was in Ring of Honor, and I've never seen that. And that was a special moment. It's a shame that MJF had to tarnish it with his disgusting behavior and his want for revenge. But man, it was just great.
MJF was
to see Wardlow do that.
So great ringside. He is so annoying and so great ringside, MJF.
Yeah.
Just eating up the crowd and then just antagonizing Wardlow to just do more and more and more. I like that spot. We were trying to book how this one would go because of the way CM Punk screwed over MJF last week. We thought MJF would screw over CM Punk in some way, but I'm glad that they built this to a match and an actual match. But no matter who you book it or how you book it, I hate roll-up finishes. I don't care if it, I just cannot stand roll-up finishes. And we kept seeing kind of some potentially happen with the Acclaim and with Sammy, like those matches. It despises me to see two competitors go battle it out, give it them all, and then have some kind of, to me, it's a cheap finish. A roll-up finish is a heel move, in my opinion. A picture-in-picture is a heel move. And so both of these...
Now, a roll-up finish during picture-in-picture is the ultimate move.
Yeah, picture-in-picture is also the heel move. But, man, I cannot stand roll-up finishes. But all in all, man, the War Dog deserved it. It deserved these high praises. He had quite the spotlight here at Dynamite Download. Both Bonds and myself gave him the Dynamite Top Performer of the Night. The guy showed up. A Star is Born tonight, and he went against the best in the world, and he showed up and he beat the best in the world. In my mind, he has that victory over him because there's no reason he should have not had that victory over CM Punk. But it's going to give us the best payoff at all with Wardlow just squishing MJF down like a little dog.
He just take his Dynamite ring with him too. Just take the ring and just eat it after the match. Out on him. Just
throw it in the crowd.
Throw into the crowd. Oh, geez. Oh man, but you're right, dude. A Star was born tonight. I think that people were going nuts about it on social. People were going nuts about it, and you could hear it you could hear it on TV. How loud the crowd was. Especially after the pin and after Wardlow basically Supermaned MJF's hand. That was nuts. And he pulled the General Zod on him, dude, and it was pretty sweet. And I don't know how they can function together for much longer. It's just not going to work. So it's just not being built up perfectly.
How could you someone literally poking the bear, poke the bear, and then just kind of take that, man? He's just going to destroy, starting with Sean Spears, in my opinion.
Sean, I did not envy him next week.
No, I do not envy him anytime because he's got CM Punk and then probably War Dog. But speaking of Stars Are Born, another showcase of two young, awesome AEW talents. We have Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin. And this one, heated rivalry. We saw Dante join Team Taz for a hot second and then turn on them as well in that Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. So this one, we got to see both guys show out, but this was a more showcase of Powerhouse Hobbs, in my opinion, man. Not only, does Hobbs, I love the way he paces a match. He's consistently getting better and better at pacing a match, but the guy looks amazing since we've seen him. He's clearly more lean, more muscular. He's an absolute beast. The stuff that he's been doing, that huge spine buster on the outside and then throws him in through the middle rope. No, thank you. I would never want to take that kind of massive spine buster in the ring, let alone outside on the, even harder concrete out there with the small little pads. But just the constant dominant beast performance by Powerhouse Hobbs throughout the beginning of this match. And then Dante gets those few high spots. like we said, the guy, the announcer said he's probably got snow on his hair because how high he gets in some of these things. But it was just incredible showing out of both guys. And I know you got some gripe a little bit about the way the big men are produced, or kind of booked here in AEW.
Sometimes it feels like a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs needs to get some wins on TV sometimes, a dude that's bigger than everybody else. Guys like him and Wardlow has been getting wins on TV recently. So I can't really complain about that, but Powerhouse, man, dude's an absolute monster. He's shredded. He can do anything in the ring. And I'd just like to see him get a couple wins here and there, not always taking those cheap losses after he dominates a match for a while. It's a little frustrating. And obviously Dante's another young guy that's being built up in a good way. And we love Dante as well. But and like I said, we love Dante as well. So that's not any slight on Dante Martin at all. Nope. But we want to see Hobbs get that push that we know he deserves and can get, because he is a guy that can be an absolute superstar, bankable champion at some point in the future. And we want to see it soon.
You're absolutely right on that one. But after the match, I was talking with my friend when I was watching Dynamite with, we haven't seen. I was showing him videos of Jay Lethal, and I was showing some, his Macho Man and Ric Flair impressions. And so I've been very curious about him. The more I listen to his interview with Chris Jericho, and it's really fantastic stuff. I really am a huge fan of him. I wasn't a fan. I didn't know about him, but knowing his story, I'm such a huge fan of his work and his dedication and his commitment. And so seeing Jay Lethal back on TV, if this is a partnership and we get a tag match out of this, man, I'm all for it, because this guy, I want to see more of him. He had an awesome match for the TNT Championship with Sammy Guevara. And so now that he's back, this guy is full of personality. His in-ring stuff that we've seen so far is fantastic. So Dante and Jay together, man, that would be very intriguing.
I'll throw you a match, bro. How does this sound? Hook, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks versus Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and Jay Lethal. How's that sound?
Main event it. Book it.
Main event it. I love it.
Book it. But
Tony Khan, I know you're listening.
Yes.
You got it, bro.
Well, that's one of those things, like, team. They call themselves Team Taz, but Hook has been just doing this dominant kind of singles. No one's been accompanying to the ring and things like that. He
hasn't really been part of
so I think it's too early to put him with, additional team members, even though they are Team Taz essentially, obviously, but keep pushing this awesome, singles run that he's been doing so far, and the crowd just being so over with him so far. Yeah. So I think you push that first and then that, but either way, man, I want to see Jay Lethal back in the ring, and I'm excited for that.
I agree completely. It's great to see Jay Lethal. I was wondering where he was. That was one of those things. Just like, where's Jay Lethal? This great debut.
Right, it was an excellent debut.
Great debut, and he hasn't really done anything other than dark stuff since. So it's good to have Jay Lethal back, and I hope he's going to be involved in the storyline, because it's going to be way interesting.
Absolutely, man. So, something that obviously I did not expect at all is when we had Hangman come out, and of course
about this one,
Hangman Adam Page comes out for sure, or coming out after his match and saying how he went an hour and a half with Bryan Danielson and just talking about, the cowboy shit. And then he quickly gets interrupted by the scum of the earth, Lambert himself, calling him out that he is not a cowboy. It's all posing. And then you see your Hangman kind of rebuttal that as well, and kind of making it real and more down to earth with that, that it's justifying his cowboy, but Lambert can pair up with anyone so well. He's so good on the mic. But one of our absolute favorites, the Murder Hawk Monster, made his re-debut or after taking a slight time off, and boy, oh boy, was that quite the surprise. And I am all for it. I'm a huge Hangman fan, obviously Team Babyface, but I've been a Murder Hawk Monster fan since day one. Did not expect this to come out. Does he have an alliance with Lambert? Did Lambert hire him? Or is he just obviously, on a mission on himself? He's always kind of been that lone wolf teetering between babyface and heel, and just, ultimate goal is just, everybody dies, gold, winning, and all that. So I like the way he's booked like that. So having him reemerge like this at the top is great because he deserves it. Murder Hawk Monster deserves gold in AEW, and he's been pushing hard, working hard, putting on outstanding matches over the last couple of years. And so for him to reemerge on the scene right away in a title picture, man, I'm all for it, man. And he looks angry, he looks pissed, he looks ready to fight, man. And he always is up for a fight, and not just a little fight. He's gonna push Hangman to the limit, and he has every match of his is physical, brutal, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, Lance is always the biggest guy in the ring, and he's always the most athletic guy in the ring. So anytime you're in a ring with Lance Archer, you gotta be mindful, man. And Hangman Page wasn't mindful tonight, and it came back to bite him. Obviously he didn't expect Lance to come and whoop on him, but Lance absolutely demolished him. And obviously this is what's going to be next for Hangman Page, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. We were really excited about the prospects of a Lance title run last year,
right?
And even like a TNT title run,
right?
But we wanted gold on Lance, and obviously I think it's a little early for Hangman to lose a belt,
right?
But I think that him and Lance can have some banger matches, man. And we're believers in Lance Archer, and this is going to be a big one for him, man. It's going to be awesome. And
it is, and that's, I mean, for a 1-2 punch of title defenses for Hangman, that's gets up there a pretty big and pretty difficult challenges.
He's getting
Danielson
fed
and now Archer.
to everybody. He's going through the gauntlet. You have to go through Danielson twice after beating Kenny Omega, and now Lance Archer. You're going through like these veterans that have been everywhere across the world, that have done it all over the place, that are widely considered fantastic Hall of Fame talents, and now you got this other guy who unlike Bryan Danielson, who's a Hall of Famer despite some of his shortcomings as an athlete, Lance Archer is an absolute freak. And so now you have to go through a dude who's a complete opposite of Bryan Danielson, and who's completely different than Kenny Omega. He's going through all these different styles, all these different challengers, and Hangman is got to show, hey man, this is why I'm the champ. This is why that Tony Khan believed in me to put the strap on me. That's why it's awesome. That's why it's so fun. We're seeing a young guy, a young champion, kind of be crowned that before our eyes, going through these guys and being able to show up against any kind of competitor.
Yeah, I mean that is very well said, and the diversity of in-ring matches that we're going to get, it's going to be totally different. It's going to be great. And then you throw in another person, whoever is going to be next, eventually if it's Mox or eventually if it's Miro, like these all different. All different. What's for sure, man. But speaking of different, what we got out of the next match was really different. Sheeta versus D4 tonight was, I was hyping this up. I was really pumped for this because these women put on clinics. They put on in-ring clinics nonstop when they are meshed together. The chemistry is through the roof with this. This one started before the bell, and Deeb did not stop punishing Sheeta this whole match. This was not even a match. The bell rang both at the beginning and at the end, but this was an absolute a woman on a mission, trying to injure someone, trying to put her out for good. And she successfully did that for pretty much this whole time. I mean, she was hitting her with the kendo stick. She was working on that knee, ripping the tape off. I was hoping for
broke the kendo stick over her.
Yeah, I was hoping for another instant classic between these, but we just got a complete ass whooping by Deeb. And, Sheeta is in pain. The ref had to stop it because of how aggressive Deeb was.
Yeah, dude, this was a shocker. I was expecting what you were expecting. I was expecting another drawn-out, long, great match between these two competitors that hate each other. And ultimately what we got was, Serena Deeb taking the low road, attacking Sheeta during her entrance, going low on her knee and just attacking that knee the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have even cared if the bell didn't ring.
No,
I think Deeb would have just been fine with punishing Sheeta, not even getting the win back, going after her the whole time. And I love this version of Serena Deeb that we have right now, man. She's so aggressive and cruel and just brutal. And I think that Sheeta's going to be a great foil for it ultimately too. So this is going to be a really interesting storyline. I'm curious to see where they're going with it. because this is something that, man, like the talent in this feud is just epic. You know, these are two of the top like 4 or 5 women on the roster
Heck yeah.
in general. And so being able to see them have this feud and continue it, and now Sheeta's going to be even more bitter and frustrated with Deeb. I'm all for it. I want more of this stuff on TV. And man, this is a shock that how fast this one went. An absolute shock.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, you
I thought
saw
this was going to be
Anna
match of the
Jay-
night, personally.
Yeah, really, I agree. Anna Jay, Ty Conti, and Sky Blue come out to help Sheeta. I don't think the massive beatdown that we saw from Deeb on Sheeta, like Sheeta should be down for a while. I mean, they should put her on crutches. They should really milk this injury because she really went for that. And then maybe you could throw, like, I would like to see Deeb and Ty Conti like go in the ring together. Like, I think that's obviously that tag team feud, which ended on an epic note on Rampage with those 2 tag team women's. Now you can throw in Ty Conti, because that kind of like technical wrestling and Deeb's technical wrestling, I think that kind of that chemistry would work really well together. So until ultimately you get the rise from the ashes from Sheeta when she returns from injury, and then can kind of save the day again. So I think that's kind of like babyface booking 101 for that.
Sounds good to me, though. Sometimes the simplest stuff is the best, you know? It doesn't always need to be convoluted and crazy. You know, you can sometimes have what works, and you know what works. And I think that would work very well.
You know what was working really well for me tonight? I mean, we saw a lot of cool, I think in-ring gear was a new in-ring gear was kind of a theme tonight. And one of my favorite in-ring gears was Cero Miedo. Penta El Cero Miedo had some awesome in-ring gear. I think he just like the strut, man. This guy just walks the walk. He is talking the talk, and he's backing it up, man. He looks like a badass. He's feeling the flow, and just like his new black and white in-ring gear was really cool. He's always had cool gear, but today, for some reason, the black and white with the paint and the blacked out eyes and in the coat, like everything to me just worked so well tonight with that. You know, before we talk about the match, it was nice that Jurassic, you know, Christian Cage, and even though Hardy mentioned it in a bad way, but they did mention Rey Fenix and quickly mentioned that as well. But as you know, since we've talked, or we had last show, we got some great news that, you know, it wasn't as severe as it looked, because it looked terrible. Bad. So hopefully Penta and his brother will be reunited sooner than later, because they are the best tag team in the world right now, period. Yeah. And there's no one touching that.
I feel it, man. And Penta showed that singles energy tonight, man. He really dominated this match, I thought. You know, we were talking in our chat and on Twitter a little bit, man. Like Penta, I'd love to see him get singles gold at some point, man. I think a TNT title run for him would be amazing. He would just have such fun matches, even if it's not a long reign. It would just be so fun. But dude's just got the charisma and energy of this, like, he's an absolute blast in the ring. Him and Hardy had good chemistry. You know, Hardy's a consummate pro, and he's been around for so long. You know, he can have a good match with anybody, so that's not surprising at all. But I mean, him and Penta just did well, and Penta looked like an absolute machine. You could tell he was wrestling out there for his brother tonight. You know, he was going out there and having a hard fought match. But afterwards, dude, after the match, we got some crazy stuff going on, and you can let us know what happened here, because this was a little crazy.
So I'm trying to get the graphic up for this one because it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. Before we talk, I want to mention one thing about the match. I mean, I thought it was going to be this was one of an SPD favorite, you know, a chop battle for sure, even though Hardy was wearing that shirt. And what I really love about Penta himself, like, he's such a showman. You know, the beginning of the match was so fun.
They could have done it for 5 minutes, and I've been cool with it. Straight up.
Cero Miedo, delete. And then I love how he just like struts around, takes his glove off and all that. But I kind of prematurely picked my chop of the night for this one, but I actually had to take back my pick and waited till the end. My chop of the night was actually in the main event tonight. So Penta, you know, at the end of this match, lights go out, and you know, we were a little surprised. I mean, it's been kind of teased online a lot, you know, Brody King making his debut here in AEW. And so as soon as the lights went out and Malachi Black showed in the ring, I was like, oh my gosh, the booking between these two guys as singles matches would be fantastic. And then we saw Varsity Blondes come out to trying to save the day. And then lights go out again. Boom, Brody King is debuting. And the guy is an absolute beast. These two together look like just a wrecking crew that no one wants to meet. You don't want to meet these guys in a back alley. You don't want to meet them in a ring. They just scare you. You see them, women and children will run away crying. But I really impressed when Malachi threw Griff to Brody for that slam. I was like, he suplexed through him into his arm, onto his shoulder. I'm like, dang. But you know much more about Brody than me, man. How pumped are you to see him in AEW?
Oh, dude, this is going to be great. I mean, these guys have tagged before, so like they'd have chemistry already.
Yeah.
Brody King is freaking sweet. Big dude. Obviously, you can tell Brody King is a wide man, a very big guy, and an athletic big man. So that's what's fun about him. You can be a big guy and be a wrestler and just kind of go through the motions, but when you can do some of the stuff that he can do, and you can move around like he can move around, you're gonna have some fun matches. And I know that Malachi Black is a bit of an acquired taste in the ring. So I think that for the House of Black, this is going to be a huge addition just because it'll be able to kind of have some other people that maybe aren't as big of fans of Malachi's in-ring style to be like, okay, like I'm digging this now. And I think that this is a big addition, obviously, no pun intended, a big addition to AEW just because, we've been teased about the House of Black for a long time now. This isn't like a new thing. We've been teased for a while, and now it's here. Finally, it's finally here, and it's going to be really interesting and fun because of how much has been teased, how much we want to see Malachi do stuff that's actually important instead of just kind of teasing what's coming next. Now we have what's next. It's here. And we get to see what the grand plan was all along. And that's always the best part. We're going to see the payoff.
That's right. And so we saw still Julia Hart milking that eye injury. And then later in the show, which was quite a surprise, was the Pac, like milking that eye injury, say he can't see. Like, where do you see that like end result with that? Do you think Pac is going to come back and kind of save his brother Penta? That promo from Pac was absolutely incredible, very thought out, very unexpected as well. So I'm intrigued. Do you see Malachi and Brody kind of going first toe to toe with Varsity Blondes because it makes sense? Really, a red hot babyface team versus a newly debuted team in the House of Black.
Man, I really don't know. I think they could go a lot of different directions with this one, which is cool. I could see people joining them that aren't currently with them. Maybe Julia Hart isn't going to be long for the Varsity Blondes. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff that they could do with this to make it really interesting and unique. And it's not going to be like a recruiter thing. We've had a lot of those kind of storylines, with Team Taz and with the HFO, like where there's recruiter storylines.
Right.
This isn't going to be that. This is going to be something very different. And if it is kind of a similar tone where they are adding people, it'll be a very dark and very almost disturbing thing based on what we've seen so far.
Right.
Man, I don't know if I want to see Pac join them or fight them. That's how fun it is. I could see it going either way and it being really interesting, because the thing is Pac's always kind of teetering, right? He's not really not really a baby face. This could have him kind of go one way finally, and he'll not be a tweener anymore. Either good or bad. So we'll see, man. I'm excited either way. I think it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be great TV, and there's so many, as we saw tonight, so many different feuds going on right now within AEW, and it's nonstop pedal to the metal action. One of our absolute favorites here at Dynamite Download is the Acclaimed, because everybody loves them.
Wait,
do it.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Wait. There you go.
Just doing the scissors. I love see as we saw. I don't know if you caught it at the end of the match. Like Caster was scissoring some of the crowd members. So they are leaning into that babyface. I mean, you can't go babyface when you're going against Sting and Darby. But that being said, everybody loves the Acclaim. We've always loved the Acclaim. These guys are just rock stars, man. From everything they do is spot on. Is perfect. The mic drop for the win by Caster, the promo in the beginning was fantastic. And, it's hard to say, but like Bowens looks like he's getting in better and better shape. The guy's already been in fantastic shape, but to me, he's getting better physical shape, in-ring shape. And as the announcer said, he's an angry man. And so I think both these guys are elevating their overall character, both, in-ring general physical ability and all this stuff, man. It's one of those, like, they're getting another TV spot. Like 2022 should be the year of the Acclaimed. 2022 should be the year of the Wardlow. Like these stars and Thunder Rosa, like you push that core, whew, man, AEW is just gonna just blow up.
Man, I will put it on record that as soon as the Acclaimed or done with their current feud, I want them to be in the title picture.
Yeah,
they should be. They've been ranked in the top 5 basically for a year now. And if they come out of this on top, or even not, I think that they could have a nice claim to those belts and have great matches with and have some great matches with Jurassic Express. So I want to see that, just because I think these guys are 2 young future stars in this tag division, and single stars as well. But in this tag division, they are a different flavor, and it's a great flavor. It's delicious. These guys are funny and mean, but also you can tell that their gimmick is going to work when they turn face, because it's already working. It's already over.
For sure.
And it's going to work, man. It's just, it's always great when you see something and you're just like, oh man, like once these guys get that right storyline to just go to that next level, they're going to get it. And they are at that point right now. You can just feel it.
And for them to be paired up against Sting and Darby Allin, that is a huge notch. That is huge. That's not only huge for them, but it's a lot of trust in them, to be able to go toe to toe. Sting doesn't wrestle every week, every month, it's very selective.
It's special. It's special when he wrestles.
It's always special. When we saw him versus MJF and FTR in that 3-on-3, when he does wrestle, it's not out there for a jobber or a squash match. So
they created a whole new type for him in the Team Taz feud. That cinematic street fight was amazing and different and unique. They created a whole new thing. That's awesome. It's totally unique, and it's always special. Always special.
You're right. You're absolutely right, man. And so we're happy for the Acclaimed. We don't want nothing but the best for the Acclaimed, because we love the Acclaimed and everybody loves the Acclaimed, and they know it for sure.
Yeah. Unless you're Lori, but it's okay. We forgive you.
They'll come around. Everyone will come around eventually, just like we did right away. Thanks to Crayfish's inspiration. He's a great salesman. He can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. But as we saw today, debuting on AEW's Twitter, a new T-shirt from Mark Henry. I'm going to quote Mark Henry, "It's time for the main event." Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, 2 young core guys showcased here in AEW in the main event, spotlighting it. And boy, did they deliver. These are 2 highly talented young AEW stars. And man, they started strong. They were slapping the crap out of each other, literally slapping the crap out of each other. And
all over the ring.
Yeah. And this one was, Sammy Guevara is the interim TNT champion right now. But, we've always been very high on what Sammy can do in the ring, and his just, fearless mentality and leaving it all in and outside the ring. But to me, Garcia is the one who stood out the most tonight. This was the best match I've seen Garcia in AEW to date as a singles match, or even in a multi-man match. His methodical groundwork was spot on and very impressive. His facials and all that were very impressive, and his acting was very, very well with selling both the offense and the defense on. So I think, to me, as we were talking, just Garcia would just hit it out of the park tonight, and more eyes on him. They'll realize why AEW signed him and why he's paired with 2.0, which are fantastic, which we could talk about after this.
Oh, dude. I tweeted out during the show, like, the fact that Daniel Garcia is 23 years old blows my mind, that he's so young and so polished and talented. And you can tell, man, when this kid wrestles, it's special. He's one of those dudes that, in 5 years, when he knows the business better, he's just going to just dominate everybody. When he's Sammy Guevara's age, he's going to be absolutely dominant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's insane. These are two
You're
guys
right.
that are both young. I mean, like I said, Garcia's 23, Sammy's 28. These guys are going to be in AEW for a long time, and this is one of many matches I hope they have, because their chemistry, dude, is, I know I say that a lot about wrestlers and their chemistry, but these guys have special chemistry. These guys
You're right.
like slap the hell out of each other, and just they're selling it. They hate each other so much, and it's
Mhm.
so believable because everything they do is so quick and aggressive. I'm sure some of that's youth, just being so young, being able to move that quick and do that
Right.
stuff. I'm sure that's part of it, but it's also, these guys are both really good in-ring performers. They both
You're
can
right.
go. And obviously, part of why they were main eventing this like this epic show, these two young guys were the main event on this huge
Right.
show with all this talent on it and all these great matches that we're talking about. These two guys
right.
were the ones that Tony said, "Hey, you're going out there last, and you're going to go send those people home happy." And they did that. That was a great match. I know neither of these guys were my performer of the night, but this was the match of the night. In my opinion, this was the match of the night, and I think with a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about in-ring technicality, in-ring
Yeah.
work, storytelling, back and forth, false finishes. Overall, like, this was definitely the match tonight. And I said it and you said it, but like, slapping that crap out of each other. This is the chop of the night from SPD goes to, Sammy Guevara was throwing some early chops pretty heavily. Both guys were throwing them, but I think Sammy had one of the stronger chops of the night on Daniel Garcia. And to me, chop of the night, Sammy Guevara in the main event. Well done. Making SPD proud, giving us the woo loud smack chop goes to Sammy Guevara for sure. But this one, I love how AEW does not shy away from giving young, fresh, as some could say, green, even though they're not green, talent, the spotlight of a main event. And it's so refreshing where it's so unpredictable booking.
Yeah.
How oftentimes do we try to book the card, and just in terms of the order, and we're never right,
Oh.
and we predict the finishes and stuff like that on the pay-per-views with their bingo cards, which is a lot of fun. But this was props to them for going all in on these young stars, and they delivered. And we saw after the match, we saw Team 2.0 giving us all a little taste,
our guys,
a beatdown, a beatdown on Jericho, the champion himself, and Eddie Kingston. The turmoil between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, like, there's a lot of different things going on with Sammy, Inner Circle, Eddie 2.0, Garcia, Jericho. Like, where do you see this going? Like, what kind of match do you? I mean, I think the payoff, obviously, Eddie and Jericho kind of one-on-one going toe-to-toe, but 2.0 is still just kind of making fools out of everyone by just coming out, power numbers, whooping everyone nonstop, coming out of nowhere. And so they're giving us all a taste and laughing their way back to the locker room. So what do you see next? Like, what do you see Eddie and Jericho trying to team up against 2.0 so they can shut them up, and then that turmoil costs them the match, and then they go solo one-on-one? I could see that happening.
Yeah, dude. I know that Eddie Kingston doesn't play well with others. You know what I mean?
No.
And it just feels like that's what's going on. It feels like, man, like him and Jericho just will not be able to get along. And that seems like the story that's being presented to us right now. That seems like what could be the long-term part of this, just in that aspect of this, because obviously there's a lot more going on here. Sammy and Daniel Garcia, that's a part of it as well with 2.0. And maybe you're going to see more of that with Inner Circle. We got to remember, Cody is the TNT champion as well. And Cody hasn't been on TV because he's dealing with COVID. Hope he gets well soon. But he's going to have a match with Sammy or whoever ends up the TNT champion before Cody's back to unify those belts. So that's another part that we aren't even talking about yet, because it's not, that's like on the wayside. That could lead into some more stuff, storylines as well. Obviously, Sammy had that great match with Dustin last week, and they showed a lot of respect to each other. It wasn't like the Cody stuff where Cody said, "Hey, good luck, kid," that kind of thing. It was a lot more respectful. So I don't know if that's going to be an aspect with Dustin, but man, there's just so many moving parts to this feud, and I can't wait to see where they're going, because, like we said, we like all these guys that are involved in this. 2.0 are absolutely fantastic and hilarious. And not only are they hilarious, but they can go in the ring. So
Yep.
you have these guys that are really funny and charismatic, much like the Acclaimed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're very similar in that regard, where they're very funny and charismatic, but they can just go in the ring too, and you just, you love it. And then you got a young kid like Garcia with those guys who are a little more
Yep.
experienced, been around a couple other companies, and done some stuff over there. But then you have veterans in this like Jericho and Eddie Kingston and Sammy, who was under Jericho's tutelage as well. So you have all of these young and old and moving parts, and oh man, and championships involved. Like,
Yeah.
dude, this is absolutely bonkers right now. Bonkers.
Do you think Eddie is the one who would break up the inner circle?
I
haven't thought of that, and I don't want it to happen.
No.
But you would think the loyalty of the IC to Jericho is, like they said, blood through thick and thin through all these matches. Like, I think you're going to see maybe PNP kind of teetering back and forth, kind of get confused, which they shouldn't, because Jericho is the one that,
Jericho's their guy.
I mean, like they said, they won the faction of the year for a reason. So it's very intriguing stuff, man. And next week's show, we're gonna have some great stuff. I mean, we're getting the first intergender match of 2022.
That's gonna
CM
be
Punk is
banger.
back in the ring with Shawn Spears. Rampage, we're gonna see Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds, that was a great promo, versus Adam, or who are they playing?
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express, the title match. But it's just going to be a lot of stuff. We're Adam Cole versus Trent. And so a lot of great matches over the next week. And it's going to be really fun, man. And it's great time to be in, the new year is kicking things off very strong.
We're heading into beach break with a bunch of stuff going on, dude.
Yes. And I hope that they make that a home run show, which last year was a home run show. If that is the place that Wardlow turns on MJF, I'm ready for it. That's 2 weeks away, and it's time for that, man. It's time
for that main event.
What match are you looking forward to the most next week?
Man, that intergender match sounds really cool.
It does.
I love that kind of stuff. It's going to be unique, and just I want to see the chemistry that Adam Cole and Britt Baker have together, because we haven't gotten to see that. It's obviously a real life couple, so I want to see like what they do together in the ring. I'm more excited about that than anything, than the match. Honestly, I'm excited about them having their own like just whatever chemistry and whatever stuff they do. And because obviously they both play out that heel stuff as well,
for sure.
Even though the crowd loves them. So I want to see what they. Yeah, it's funny because they kind of have the same problem. But I want to see what happens with that, what they do. Obviously, I kind of I expect that to be them winning. You want the champ to win matches anytime she's in the ring. So I think that'll be a blast. What about you, dude? There's so many good ones. It's so hard to pick.
I mean, I kind of agree with you as well, just because I'm a huge Adam Cole and DMD fan. And Statlander can go for sure. And the storylines that can come out of that as well. But I'm very intrigued with like segment wise and overall segment and storytelling is going to be anything with CM Punk and MJF. I think what we saw tonight with not only the match and then MJF coming back out yelling and screaming to the crowd. It was fantastic. Yeah, he was fired up for sure. But
fantastic.
Well, we want to thank you all for joining us for Dynamite Download episode 68, and we will be back Friday night for Rampage Rundown, Crayfish and SPD. Babe, bun in the oven permitting. Crayfish is expected dead any day now. So
any moment,
any single moment. So we're still on schedule for Rampage Rundown afterwards. 4 matches on Rampage. They're squeezing in, and surprise, surprise, no Hook on Rampage this week. So it's a little unfortunate for that, but Hook is still over. We still love him.
Hook had a long weekend, as we saw on social, so I don't think it's all right.
Yeah.
Man's enjoying
just
his
take
life.
our word for that on that one. Yeah. But we want to thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate you guys taking your time on this Wednesday night, and hope to see you guys in the chat on Friday night for Rampage Rundown.
Yes.